Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. A new year means new laws in the Empire State, and you'll notice one of them the next time you get takeout. No more styrofoam containers. They're now banned. Big Fox's Matt Kleindens tells us it could eventually mean that you'll pay more for that to-go meal.
Good evening, and restaurants that normally give out styrofoam carry-out containers will no longer be able to give them out to customers starting in 2022, adding additional costs for some local restaurants.
They're making it so hard on small businesses in New York State.
Getting takeout will look a little different for New Yorkers in 2022. On Saturday, the state banned the use of styrofoam food containers, forcing the R&M restaurant in Corning to switch to biodegradable alternatives.
Just too bad that they're forcing things on us to make us raise our prices. It's just nuts.
Bob Pieri says the new biodegradable containers cost about 17 cents more per container than traditional styrofoam. He says that increased costs will be eventually passed on to the customer.
They're already paying high enough prices now for everything they're buying, and we try to keep our prices at a reasonable cost.
Pieri says he understands why the state moved away from styrofoam, but adds the burden will be passed on to local businesses, especially when Pennsylvania continues to allow styrofoam containers.
New York's not going to save the world, you know. I mean, it's a start maybe, but I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Going forward, Pieri says local restaurants will have to find a way to move forward with the new law. Pieri says he'll find a way to get rid of the last of his styrofoam containers. Matt Kleindens, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The debate over in-person learning continues as students head back to school. And the CDC is weighing changes to its guidance for asymptomatic COVID patients. Jonathan Seri has more.
The FDA has authorized COVID booster shots manufactured by Pfizer for children as young as 12. This still needs to be signed off on by the director of the CDC. That may come sometime later this week. Meanwhile, students across the country are returning to the classroom after the holiday break. But more than 2,000 schools are closed or offering remote learning due to the recent spike in COVID cases. The CDC has endorsed a test-to-stay policy for students and staff who come in contact with an infected person. But many states are facing a testing shortage, like in Massachusetts, where the state's teachers union has called for schools to remain closed to allow more time to test faculty and staff.
We've had a lot of active traffic on our state website, which we've made available to all the Commonwealth cities and towns to purchase additional rapid tests, and we expect those will start arriving later this week.
There's a renewed urgency to improve safety measures in the classroom after pediatric COVID hospitalization spiked 58% in the last week. Health experts expect that number to continue climbing this month. Meanwhile, Dr. Anthony Fauci says federal health officials may adopt new guidance for asymptomatic COVID patients. The updated guidelines could require a negative test to end isolation after 5 days.
The mixed messaging, not only does it lead to confusion and frustration, but it leads ultimately to a lack of compliance.
The CDC currently recommends those leaving isolation wear a face mask in public for another 5 days. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams and School Chancellor David Banks say their goal is to keep schools open during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Extra precautions are in place as students across the city returned to in-person classes today. Some of the measures include increased testing and mask usage. The mayor and chancellor speaking after traveling to Concourse Village Elementary School in the Bronx to greet students, parents, and staff on the first day back after the holidays.
So listen, we're really excited about the opening of our schools, and we want to be extremely clear. The safest place for our children is in a school building, and we are going to keep our schools open and ensure that our children are safe in a safe environment.
During the meeting, School Chancellor David Banks announced the launch of the Department of Education COVID Command Center, which will allow school leaders to address and escalate issues they need help with, including ensuring the safety of students amid the pandemic. Steuben County residents can now report at-home COVID tests online thanks to the county's new at-home testing portal. The portal allows for residents to easily report positive cases and get isolation orders. The portal asks for demographic information, vaccine status, and a picture of the positive test. Residents can access the portal on the Steuben County Public Health website. The New York Attorney General's office has subpoenaed two of former President Donald Trump's children, Ivanka and Donald Trump Jr., as part of its civil investigation into whether the Trump Organization purposefully misvalued assets. New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking to question Trump's eldest children. The Attorney General's office previously subpoenaed the former president for testimony, setting a deadline of January 7th. According to today's court filing by James's office, the former president, Donald Jr., and Ivanka are disputing the subpoenas. This week, Congress will mark 1 year since the January 6th attack on Capitol Hill. And it comes as a congressional committee ramps up its probe into what happened that day, with one member saying public hearings could begin in weeks, if not months. Madeline Rivera is in Washington with the latest on the investigation.
As the one-year anniversary of the January 6th riot on the Capitol approaches, a congressional committee probing the attack is preparing to go public, with hearings revealing what led up to the insurrection.
Our hearings will determine whether or not what occurred on January 6th was a comedy of errors or a planned effort on part of certain individuals.
The committee is not ruling out issuing subpoenas to members of Congress or criminal referrals to the Justice Department if it finds something that warrants a recommendation. And as the panel digs into former President Trump's role, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, one of two Republicans on the committee, is slamming his lack of action as a dereliction of duty.
Any man who would watch television as police officers were being beaten, as his supporters were invading the Capitol of the United States, is clearly unfit for future office.
Trump, however, wants the Supreme Court to block the committee's request for White House documents and records related to the riot. In a letter to House GOP members, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy accuses Democrats of using the event as a partisan political weapon to divide the country, with the committee aiming to release its final report before the midterm elections. Democrats are determined to keep the spotlight on the attack this week, with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi planning a number of events on Thursday, including a moment of silence and a prayer vigil. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are also expected to deliver remarks. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
A Tompkins County couple rang in the new year by welcoming a baby girl into the family. Bella Rose Millspaw was born to parents Mark and Melissa of Enfield at the Cayuga Hospital in Ithaca. She was born just 15 minutes after the ball dropped on New Year's Day, putting her in a special group of New Year's babies. Bella Rose came in weighing 4 pounds, 4 ounces, and 15 inches in length. Congratulations. Still ahead tonight, roughly 70 pets are reported missing after a massive wildfire tore through several heavily populated neighborhoods in Colorado.
I can't imagine the devastation of losing one's home, much less a member of one's family.
More on the search efforts to locate the dozens of pets lost during the most destructive wildfire in Colorado state history.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. By the time we wake up tomorrow morning, temperatures have already driven down into the teens. That's what we're going to start off with on your Tuesday. And we're going to stay below freezing through about 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be another cold day, but it's going to be seasonably cold. We are expecting some sunshine, and it is going to be about 10 degrees warmer for your Tuesday. Then clouds increase. We have another storm system coming in, and those clouds will increase on Wednesday. Snow chance is possible Wednesday night into early Thursday, and that cooler air will be back by the end of the week. But right now, high pressure building into the mid-Atlantic. We're on the north side of it, northerly winds coming in, and so we're stuck with that cold air for your Tuesday, but it will be a little bit warmer than what we're starting off with this week. So temperatures around 40 degrees in the afternoon tomorrow. I'm expecting plenty of sunshine and then mostly clear conditions in the evening hours, which will allow those temperatures to dive down into the 20s. Then here comes our next storm system, and we are expecting a little bit of snow to move in as that next system moves in. So just a little bit of snow coming in Wednesday night into early Thursday. It's going to be a weak system, so I'm not expecting a lot of snow, at least not in our area. And then we are expecting a little bit colder conditions as we head toward the end of the week. So let's take a look at our future radar, where we're finding dry weather for most of the day on Tuesday, and then clouds will start to increase on your Wednesday. In fact, we're going to start off with mostly cloudy conditions, and then by 6 o'clock in the evening, it looks like snow starts to take shape to our west and then move into our hometowns by 9 o'clock in the evening, and it looks like just off and on snow showers through early in the day on Thursday. Here's a look at your forecast for tonight. Teens will be possible, and then highs tomorrow around 41 degrees in Corning, 40 in Elmira, but colder in Wayland at 38 degrees. Our 7-day forecast features temperatures that will be a little bit above normal on Wednesday. Clouds will continue to increase. Some evening snow will be possible. Then we dry out during the day on Thursday. In the afternoon, though, clouds will start to increase again. It's going to be colder on Thursday with a high around 34 degrees, and then snow chances return by the end of the week. Highs only around 29 degrees, so those temperatures will definitely sustain snow. As it moves in, we dive back down. It looks like single digits will be possible as we head into the early part of Saturday. Staying cold throughout the day with a high around 29 degrees. And then we warm up to around 42 on Sunday before another system moves in, bringing the possibility of snow back early next week.
A lot of numbers get reported in the aftermath of a natural disaster. The number of homes destroyed, number of acres damaged, the amount of rain or snow that fell. But what about the number of pets that went missing? Jackie Ibanez has more on the search efforts to locate the dozens of pets lost during the most destructive wildfire in Colorado state history.
These are people's beloved family members, and they just need to be reunited with their families.
For pet owners, their animals are more than just furry friends, they're family. But when natural disasters strike, those family members can wind up being lost or left behind in the chaos.
I can't imagine the devastation of losing one's home, much less a member of one's family.
That's exactly the case in Boulder County, Colorado, where at least 67 pets have been reported missing in the wake of the Marshall Fire.
Kitty! Kitty!
Volunteers spent the weekend combing through neighborhoods impacted by the blaze, searching for those missing animals. After the fire destroyed close to 1,000 homes as of Thursday.
Toss them some treats, and then maybe they can come back to you.
Tom Holmquist helped organize the mission.
Was thinking what would happen if I wasn't home and my dog was home. Freaked me out a little bit, and I'm a dog lover, so decided to put this on Facebook on the the Boulder Fire Lost and Found Pets, and I don't know, kind of exploded.
And for fellow animal lovers, lending a hand was a no-brainer.
I saw that my animals were okay, and I thought, well, I owe it to them to go try to help somebody else, help another animal.
But this weekend's blizzard dumped roughly 10 inches of snow across the disaster zone, complicating search efforts. Still, no one is giving up hope. Meanwhile, the Humane Society says if it's not safe for you, it's not safe for your pets. The organization recommends always having an emergency plan and kit prepared for your pets in case of a natural disaster.
The last few weeks of winter weather is helping Utah to bounce back. Its snowpack is reaching encouraging levels, but is it enough to help reverse the drought? Emily Tenser has more.
The new year is off to a hopeful start, with the state's snowpack almost entirely above average.
We've had an exceptional 3-week period with statewide heavy snow, and now we're currently sitting 128% of normal snowpack for this date.
The Weber-Ogden area is barely there, sitting just at 99%. Beaver and southwestern Utah are doing fantastic, both above 180%.
Typically on a normal year, averaged over the last 30 years, we don't reach these levels until mid to late January. Last year, we didn't reach these levels until mid-February.
Glenn Merrill is a hydrologist with the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City. He says if Utah wants to overcome this drought, the state needs more storms. 95% of the water supply comes from snowmelt runoff.
We look back to December 9th, so just a little over 3 weeks ago, we were at an all-time minimum for statewide average snowpack over the last 40 years.
Reservoir levels are lower than they'd like to be right now, and it may be too soon right now to know how well all the snow will melt back into the water.
Getting out of the drought doesn't happen quickly or from one big exceptional storm cycle like we've been through.
Merrill says it'll take a few years of above average snowpack and significant snowmelt runoff to rebound against the drought. But right now, Utah is better now than where it was last year.
We went into the fall with much higher soil moistures this year. Last year we were at an all-time low. So that's a factor that looks good. This current state of the snowpack looks good, but it's an evolution that needs to continue to happen over time to really see the effects of it.
Israel's military says it launched strikes against militant targets in the Gaza Strip, one day after rockets were launched against Israel from the Hamas-ruled territory. Trey Yingst has more.
The new year is not off to a great start in the Middle East. Overnight, Israeli airstrikes targeted Hamas positions along the Gaza Strip. The strikes were in response to rocket fire on Saturday that landed off the coast of central Israel. There was also a sniper attack from Gaza last week that injured one civilian, though Hamas claimed it was conducted by a rogue attacker. Egyptian negotiators are working around the clock to prevent another round of escalation between the two sides after that 11-day war last May. The development comes amid rising regional tension, as much of the American policies meant to decrease tension have only added to the status quo. For example, the 8th round of nuclear talks in Vienna, Austria resumed last week between the U.S., Iran, and the parties to the 2015 nuclear deal, though Iran is still increasing its storage and enrichment of uranium, actions that may push Israel to act alone militarily against the country. Analysts warn a more passive approach to issues that have the potential to start a war could be very dangerous entering the new year. Iran this weekend kept the rhetoric high while commemorating Qasem Soleimani, their top general that was killed in a U.S. drone strike 2 years ago.
They will not be given an opportunity for peace. The revenge for the assassination will continue, and they must not think that this amount of revenge is enough. No, the revenge will continue.
The issue arises when rhetoric turns to action. We've seen continued Iranian proxy action across the Middle East. One wrong move could take the entire region to a broader conflict.
It wasn't the most exciting year for new Apple products in 2021, but that's expected to change in 2022. Apple is anticipating a strong year, set to deliver new iPhones, AirPods, and possibly a VR headset. Despite the modest launch of new products in 2021, Apple did have its most successful year in history by revenue. The tech giant also recently announced plans to remain competitive for workers, offering top engineer bonuses up to $180,000 amid defections to Meta. AT&T and Verizon are defying an FAA request, and another big bank is temporarily pulling its staff from offices. Cheryl Cassone has today's business headlines.
Verizon and AT&T are moving forward with plans to launch a new 5G wireless service, despite calls from federal transportation officials to delay. Air safety regulators have said the new cellular services could confuse key cockpit safety systems. The carriers are offering to dim the power of their new service for 6 months, giving U.S. officials more time to study the more powerful signal's effect on air traffic. The companies plan to launch the service on Wednesday. Well, Goldman Sachs is encouraging its employees to work from home until January 18th. The bank says its offices will remain open, but employees will be encouraged not to work in person. Goldman will also be testing biweekly starting January 10th. Well, more CEOs are second-guessing their station in life. A new survey by Alex Partners shows 72% of CEOs are worried about losing their jobs this year due to business disruptions, with 94% of bosses saying they need an overhaul of their corporate structure over the next 3 years. Meanwhile, a new poll from USA Today's Suffolk University shows many people are looking forward to a new year and new possibilities. While some are describing their view of the new year as exhausted or worried, 46% say they're hopeful for 2022.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight and maybe scratching your head a little. A woman has become so tickled pink by a color that she's hitching herself to it. as in getting hitched to a color. This weekend, Kitten K. Sarah officially became the first person to marry a color. Kitten's colorful love affair with pink started in the 80s, but the idea to tie the knot didn't come until 2 years ago. Kitten says everybody should do what they love and have fun with it. She says she wants everyone to make a similar vow of fun and love to yourself heading into the new year. From our whole team, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great night.